I'm not saying it's chilly, but this morning's cup of water has been replaced by something a little stronger and a little warmer. Oh, God, I needed that. So, just taking a nice, easy seated posture. I'm going to bring the heels in rather than crossing the ankles. So we're trying to encourage the thighs to open out and drop. Just have a little rock around on the sitting bones, let those muscles kind of work their magic, move around. And sitting up tall, letting the shoulders relax back a little bit, thinking about the head position, slowing the breath. I'm starting to think maybe something a little more active would have been appropriate this morning. I'm going to take that into a little bit of a side bend, so I'm going to walk the fingers out to the left. Take the right hand up. And then rather than trying to sink into this, get a feeling of pressing away from the floor of that hand and stretching up through the top. Then we'll cross over to the second side. Which, if I'm correct, would be the right side. And we'll release. Now we're going to come down onto the floor, so it's going to move the block towards the back of the mat. Use the hands behind to guide myself to the floor. Once I'm down on the ground, I'm just going to take the hands on top of the knees and make some circles in the air. So using the breath, exhale, knees in, inhale, knees away and out to the sides. I'm going to take that in the opposite direction as well, a few times. And then we'll bring the feet down to the floor. Have the feet close together and into the center line. Take the hands out nice and wide, crucifix style. We'll take that twist over to the right. The shoulders stay on the ground. Get a sense of letting the hips lengthen away from you. And we'll draw the knees back again to the center. And then roll it over to the second side. And draw it back into the center again. Now we can allow ourselves to take that right knee in towards the chest. Just take the hands around the shin or the back of the thigh. Draw the knee towards the armpit a little bit, and then slide the leg down the center line on the left side, flexing both feet, and then both legs away a little bit through the sitting bones, even though you're drawing the right knee in towards the body. Now lift slowly that left foot off the ground, just an inch or so. Try and have the toes pointing to the sky. Check that the thigh feels like it's turning in just a little bit. If you think your foot is pointing out to the side, keeping the lower back connected to the ground, the belly drawn in. Now just lower the foot to the floor, slide the heel back in, and then we'll come into the second side. So we'll draw that left knee in, give it a little squeeze towards the armpit. Now chin is in towards the chest a little bit. And I'm going to slide my right foot down the center line so I can really see what I'm doing, and then lay the head back down. So it gives me a chance to have a little sneaky peek, make sure my foot is going where I think it's going. I'm going to flex both feet, send the sitting bones away, and then gradually lift that right foot just an inch off the ground. And no one's actually checking whether it's an inch, it's just what you think feels like an inch. So it could be, well, sort of closer near 6 inches than it is an inch, isn't it? Who cares? As long as the leg feels like it's working and lengthening out. And then we'll slowly lower that leg to the ground, draw the heels in. And I'm going to set the heels up for bridge pose. So we've got them about hip distance apart. Heels are very slightly out, palms face down, arms really wrapped into the side of the body. And then on the exhale, we're going to draw the belly button down towards the spine. Tilt the tailbone, slowly peel the hips away from the floor. Lift them up towards the sky as you press the back of the arms gently to the floor and lift the legs away through the thighs. You can take a breath at the top, roll it back down gently to the floor. Take a breath at the bottom, exhale, curl the spine up, lengthen it away. Breath at the top. Roll it down. So your breathing might be slightly different to mine, that's not a problem. As long as you remember the basics of exhale, lift. One breath at the top and exhale the way down. You'll be safe. You try and keep the knees the same distance apart as you think the feet are. And take one more lift. And then as you come down, just draw the feet back in close towards your bottom. Draw your chin in towards your chest. Take the hands around the back of your right thigh. Interlace your hands, lengthen the leg up. Now, ideally, the leg that still has a foot on the floor close to your bottom, that knee should be pointing directly out towards the sky, not hanging out to the side. Trying to draw the back of the pelvis down into the floor as you press the heel to the sky with the foot flexed. And then we'll let that foot come to the floor. Chin in towards the chest again so we can watch where we're placing the hands. Take a little breath. And slowly lengthen that leg out. So you're pressing the hamstring into the hands just a little bit. And take the breath from there. Head down to the floor. And with a bent knee, points towards the sky. Still drawing the hips down to the floor as you press that foot skywards. So you try and move in two directions at the same time. And we'll let that foot come down to the floor. Keep the knees high, but walk the toes and feet, since they're connected, out nice and wide. And we'll take hands wide again, crucifix style, and then scissor the legs over towards the right. Head to the left on the exhale. Inhale the legs back to the center, and then cross over to the second side. So we're going to flow, but very slowly with the breath. You might need to occasionally reset the feet as you're actually rolling around from one side of the foot to the other. Exhaling down. Inhaling on the way back up. I'll come back into the center. Bring the feet back in. I'm going to lengthen the legs out as we turn onto our right side and allow that bottom hand to lengthen out towards the end of the mat. The legs are down the center line of the mat, and we're pointing the toes away. Now we're going to use the top hand to press down into the floor to help balance. And we want the legs to be active, so you're kind of rocking around a little bit on that hip joint. You're going to take a little breath from there, let the head hang down so the head just rests on the arm. So you're looking very much to the side rather than to your feet. You're going to lift the top foot and leg about 6 inches to 10 inches off of the ground. And then you're going to try and make little circles with the leg. So you're going to take the leg forwards and then back, forwards. So it just goes a little bit behind the pelvis, a little in front. So these are only small circles. I'm trying to keep the legs lengthening away and flexed. So it'll test your balance a little bit. Or actually it might be testing your balance a lot. It's not impossible to actually fall over doing this. You want the circles to be nice and slow so that you've got more chance of keeping your balance. It's working on the core muscles, but not sort of in the way that a sit-up feels like it's working. This is more of a challenge on the balance side of the core. And then we're going to stop. Bring the foot back down again. Take a little breath. Now I'm going to draw my knees in towards my chest, roll myself up and over. So now I'm going to be facing the front of the mat, lengthen the bottom arm out. So hopefully doing the opposite side to last time, both legs lengthen away, one hand in front for a little bit of stability. Engage the legs as you lengthen the feet away. Drop the head down onto that arm. Spread the toes a little bit. On the inhale, I'm going to lift that foot about 6 to 10 inches off the floor. And then it's forwards on the inhale, backwards on the exhale. Now, they don't have to be perfect circles, no one's watching. Trying to allow the reliance on that hand in front to become as minimal as possible. And we'll bring ourselves back down. Draw both knees in towards the chest again. This time we'll come up onto all fours for cat-cow, front of the mat. Just drawing ourselves up into that tabletop position. Chest comes forwards, tailbone ticks up. Draw the belly in, pelvis tilts, spine follows. Inhaling through. Exhaling out. Hands to make a good connection to the floor. So all the knuckles down. Pressing the pads away. Shins into the ground a little bit as we lift up. Shoulders roll back a little bit as we draw forwards. Come back into a nice tabletop position. We'll take a little breath here. We'll take the right arm out to the side on the inhale. Thread that under and through. Draw up the shoulder and ear to the floor. Press into that top hand. The shoulder draws up towards the sky a little bit. Try to roll the ribs underneath the body towards the opposite side. Now press into the top hand gently as you exhale. Come back up onto all fours, just into a nice neutral position, and then float the left hand up on the breath in, and bring that underneath as well. So again, just rolling those ribs underneath, through to that opposite side. Draw the top shoulder back a little. And we're pressing to the top hand again. So lift up gently. Take a little breath from here. We'll spread the fingers out. Tuck the toes underneath. Lift the knees gently away from the floor to our favorite down dog position. And let the legs walk out a little bit. Again, just check the hands. Fingers nicely spread. All the knuckles on the ground. Try and turn the armpits down towards the floor a little bit. And then we'll come back into a plank, drop the knees to the floor. Just spin the feet out to the side, whichever you choose. Roll back onto your bottom, lengthen your legs out in front. Sit up nice and tall. Take the hands behind, lean back a little bit, let the chest lift. Draw the feet in so the soles of the feet are on the ground, about hip distance apart. Bottom lifts off the ground. It's a reverse tabletop, so we draw the knees in towards the bottom and then lift the spine up gently. Keep the chin in towards the chest. So you're trying to have the feet underneath the knees, so you might have to wiggle them around a little bit, and the hands underneath the shoulders. Knees are the same distance apart as hopefully the heels are. And it's important that the feet point forwards so the knees follow. And then we'll lay the bottom back down. Cross the ankles. Roll forwards onto the shins. Bring the hands to the front of the mat. Untuck the toes. Lift the hips up towards the sky. Step the feet gently into the front of the mat for a forward fold. So enough of a bend in the knees so that the ribs can sit against the thighs. Careful about the weights being even front and back of foot. Bring the hands onto the hips. Lengthen the chest forwards. Slowly lift up. Sun salutation-ish. Inhale, hands to the sky. Hands into the heart. Exhale over the thighs. Take the weight into the toes. As we come down, we take a breath. Step the right foot back and drop the heel in. Bring the hands onto the front side to open up into Warrior Two. Inhale the hands all the way to the sky and rotate back down to the floor. Spin the back heel, we come into plank. It's half plank and then up dog. Knees can come to the floor if you need to, but elbows need to be into the ribs. So take the breath up. Roll the hips to the sky. Down dog. Right knee into the chest. Foot through into the lunge, make use of the pressing out through the back heel, push off the toes, a forward fold, hands onto the hips, lengthen, slowly lift up. Inhale high, hands into the heart. Exhale, draw the belly in and up as you fold over. Left foot back, drop the heel in, hands onto the thigh. Open it up into Warrior Two. Float the arms to the sky. And rotate down to the floor. We're not really pausing. Into plank. Forwards into half plank. Take up dog. Strong legs if you choose to keep the knees off the ground. Lift the hips high. Down dog. Draw the left knee into the chest. Bring it through as you exhale. Strong back leg, push off the toes. And we come forwards. Hands onto the hips and we lift. Inhale high. Exhale down to the floor. Right foot back, drop the heel in. Hands onto the front thigh to lift. None of the big stuff this morning. Arms come out. This time we're going to take it into a high crescent and pause. So the hands come high, rotate, spin, take a little breath. Hands come to the floor. Exhaling it down into side plank. Breath in. Half plank on the exhale. Inhale for up dog. Back into down dog. And right knee comes into the chest. Exhale through. Step it into the front of the mat. Hands come onto the hips, soft knees, flat back to lift. Inhale high. Hands through the heart. Exhale down low. Left foot back, drop the heel in. Hands onto the front thigh again to lift, open up. Hands come high. Rotate gently. There's a pause for 5 breaths. Pressing out through the back heel. Trying to draw the shoulder blades back a little bit so you start to get more of an opening in the chest. Palms face in. Belly draws to the spine. Pubic bone moves forwards a little bit, so drop in the tailbone down towards the floor rather than letting the spine curve underneath you. We'll bring the hands down to the ground on the exhale. Step it back into plank for a breath in. Half plank. To up dog. To down dog. 3 breaths here. The left knee comes in and through. You take a breath. Press out through the back hip. Step it forwards into the forward fold. Take a breath in here, half forward fold, and then fold it all the way down. Allow yourself to take the hands behind the back of the calves. Broaden out the shoulders. Press the palm of the hand into the calf to help draw the ribs onto the thighs. You still have the bend in the knee. It's just a little bit more of a positive connection. Ribs and the thighs. And obviously hands off the floor, so you have to do a little bit more work in balance. Try to lift the hips up. Last breath here. Ease the hands back onto the hips. Lengthen the chest forwards. And slowly lift up. Inhale high, breath in. Hands into the heart. Exhaling down to the ground. I'm going to take a little breath here. Step it back into down dog. Allow yourself to come into a plank. This time the knees are coming to the floor. And we're spinning the feet out to the side, sitting back down. Legs out in front to Dandasana. So just taking a moment. Somehow managed to get off the center line. So the hands behind, flex the feet back, sit up nice and tall. Allow yourself to breathe. Let the heart settle a little. I'm going to take a little breath here. And allow yourself to take the hands behind. Roll down to the floor. And we'll come into our happy baby. So we draw both knees in. Take the knees wide. Slide your fingers down the shins. Wrap the hands around the outside to little toe. Allow the soles of the feet to move towards the sky, and then roll the spine back down to the floor. Try and draw the tailbone down. Try and keep the shoulders on the floor. Check that the neck is long and relaxed. You're not drawing your chin towards the back of the mat in an aggressive way. The benefit of having the chin in towards the chest so you can see what you're doing, where you're placing your hands, get yourself in a nice position, is that it does encourage that little bit of a sort of a crank in the neck as you roll back down again. So you do need to kind of wriggle it out a little bit. Now I like to rock very gently. A small rock from side to side in my happy baby. But that makes me feel even happier. Okay, so that's the easy part. Just let the right heel come back in towards the buttock. Release the foot. Place it down on the floor close to the bottom. Take a little breath. Draw your chin towards your chest so you can watch and you slide your right leg out. Now you want the leg to go down the center line. Spread the toes. Foot pointing towards the sky. Heel lengthening away. And you're trying to get this leg to be as straight as you can. So you can take your right hand and place it on the side to help. And then roll the spine back down to the floor. It's called half happy baby. Chin in towards the chest, and roll the heel back in. Allow yourself to come back into your happy baby position with both legs. And then whilst you've still got your chin in towards your chest, release your left foot down onto the center line. Allow yourself to keep your eyes open. Watch the leg lengthen out. So not only can you feel, but you can also see when it's straight. If you wish, that left hand can sit on top of the thigh. You're still trying to send the sitting bones away a little bit. That long neck, perhaps even more of an issue in this one-sided version. And then we'll draw both knees back in, come into a final little happy baby. And then we'll release the feet back down to the floor. And then lift the legs out down the center line. And I'm going to roll onto my right side. Lengthen both legs out down the center line. I'm going to take that bottom hand, so that's following the line of the body, and then bending at the elbow, bring the hand behind the back of the head. So again, the eyes are looking very much and the face towards the side of the mat. I've got one hand in front. Draw the top leg and bend the knee slightly, And then slide my heel into the groin so the knee lifts up towards the sky. And then I'll take the hand towards the ankle so I can bring the heel right into the groin. And I'm just going to stay here for a little while. Trying to stay steady. Bit of a wobbly day today. Must have brought my other pair of hips. Now you can bend the bottom knee a little bit, or as much as you need, to be honest. It's there as a way of keeping yourself stable. But ultimately we aim towards getting the leg to be straight, lengthening out through the foot, spreading the toes. Then we're going to take the hand around the outside of the thigh, draw the knee a little more in towards the armpit, again sort of up towards the sky. We're trying to stack the hips one on top of the other, so being careful that we don't roll backwards or forwards. Keeping the belly drawn in a little bit towards the spine will help. Then slide the hands again onto the inside and find your big toe with your index finger, middle finger. And then on the exhale, slowly lengthen that leg out towards the sky, hopefully with the hips stacked and working into a straight leg. Again, we'll release gently. Bring both knees in towards the body as you use your hands to press into the floor. Let yourself lift up. You need to roll gently towards the end of the mat. Lengthen out again. And remember, you bring the hand back underneath gently, one hand in front. Just taking a little time to stabilize. Make sure you feel like a nice long line down the center of your mat, or close to the center of the mat. If you can, you flex the feet away a little bit, so they extend it out, toes spread. And we're going to gently draw that heel in towards the groin. Take the hand away. Use it around the ankle, so knee up towards the sky. It's a little bit like tree pose. Side bended version, I guess. Again, surprisingly wobbly for first thing in the morning. Didn't think this would be happening. Now we'll see if we can draw the knee closer in towards the armpit. So we take the hand around the back of the thigh, hand just sort of sits on the shin, and you can squeeze the knee more in towards the armpit, the side of the body. And then we'll take the hand back on the inside of the leg. Just make a little contact with big toe. Take a breath. And then slowly exhale the leg out. So you're pressing the heel away to work into a straight leg slowly. It doesn't go straight necessarily straight away. Remember, the hips are stacked. We're trying to lengthen out through the bottom leg. Sending the sit-in bones away. Trying to breathe steady. release that foot down. Draw both knees in towards the chest again. Use the hands to lift up. We'll come onto all fours. You can take the hands a little wider than the shoulders, come into melting heart. So I'm going to take the hands forwards and let the chest sink down towards the ground. Keep the belly drawn in. Press the shins into the floor a little bit. Allow the chin to lift a little, and then just walk the fingers back, so you press the hips back gently, and we're going to slide our fingers all the way into child's pose. Let the head comes to the floor, and then take the hands towards your toes. And we'll bring the hands back underneath the body to lift. Swing the toes out towards the front of the mat for the last time, knees high. Use the hands behind, and we roll down just for a very brief Shavasana. Lift the legs out to the corner edges, toes roll open, spine relaxes out, palms face up. And we'll begin to stretch the fingers and toes. Let the wrists and the ankles get a little movement. Deeper breath. Stretch it out as you exhale. Ease the knees in towards the body for that final little hug. Rolling onto the right side, using the hands. Press into the floor to lift up. Bedding into comfy sitting pose. And bring the hands in towards the heart, taking a breath in, closing the eyes, letting the chin drop, drawing the belly in and bowing gently to the floor, sealing our practice for the morning. Inhale, let the spine lift back up. Namaste.